Hi, it's Xavier, and welcome to my retreat, and in particular Bonsai for Breakfast. And finally we're actually going to go back to what I meant to do with this, which is have lots of little bits and pieces. We're going to get an update on my Japanese white pine, and to be fair, tell you why you haven't seen anything about it yet. I'm also going to give you a chance to have a look at Zita's memorial apple, how that's developing, and show you what sort of work I'm going to do on it right now. We're also actually going to revisit this particular Ginkgo biloba, and I got a lot of active interest through the comments on the sort of things I could do with this interesting and challenging specimen. And there are quite a number of options, so we're going to talk through what I am going to do and why. And I'm also going to tell you why the Buddleia experiment, I don't think it's quite over. Last time, you know, I'd pretty well given up on this one. And of course, those of you who've seen some of my earlier stuff will know that I did something with this Buddleia. But we'll talk about that in a minute. And finally, I'm going to just show you two of these Mame, Sycamore and Apple, and explain why I'm just so ecstatic about the results I've had with them. It's well worth hearing. So, if all that's going to interest you at breakfast time, then charge up your coffee and join me. Everyone who's watched me regularly knows that I love trying to turn big leaf varieties into Mame or mini Mame Bonsai, and I've had a lot of success with Sycamore. And right here is a standard Sycamore leaf, and it is basically the size of my hand. So how on earth am I going to turn that into a Mame Bonsai that looks like that?
Bogus!
So how do I get this incredible leaf reduction? And many of you who've done this for a while will know what the answer is. I mean, this is glorious. It's probably the best it's been. Each year it gets a little bit better. Well, all I really do is I wait, and as soon as I get this lovely flush of new growth here, I remove all the slightly bigger, and they are only slightly bigger now, leaves here to leave this growth. And in fair, even this one I could be tempted to remove. In fact, do you know what? Let's be a daredevil. Let's remove that one as well. And yes, it takes away some of that lovely canopy we had, but that's what I would do with something like that now. And then I'd be looking all over to see if there's anything of note that may be a sign of things to come. And guess what? So one of the issues I've got is this great big long length here. I'm reliant on buds coming lower down so that I can do what I end up being able to do to this one. And look at this. We have a bud. And on this side, we have probably what you call a micro bud. Now, I actually want that to open up. And I have in the past cut here to try and make that open up. We've also got something a little bit lower down. So the decision is, how do I get that to become the priority for the energy? And I know loads of you out there are saying, don't do it, because the answer is actually to do that, isn't it? At this time of the year, all the energy that this plant has is down there. Those leaves have been acting like solar panels, and hey, would it really surprise you if I'm just itching to do one thing? And I know it'll destroy this in the short term, but you know what it's going to be, don't you? Put down in the comments right now if you know what I'm about to do, and I'll give you to the count of 3. 3, 2, oh, that was someone who's going to speak to me on my phone about it. 1. No, it doesn't look like a bonsai anymore, but I'm telling that tree, put all your energy into those little buds there, and hopefully that's going to give me a twin set of branches coming out a lot lower down the tree. That is how I, 1, keep the leaves miniaturized, and each year those leaves have got smaller and smaller, and 2, how I encourage this tree to ramify lower and lower down, because I don't want this to be any higher than this in the end. I love these, but I do need to do one thing, and that's just put a little bit of cut paste at the top. So if anyone ever challenges you and says there's no way you can turn that into that, well, clearly you need to show them to this video, because I've done it, and I have no doubt many of you have also done it too. It's a combination of small pot, continually each year bringing it out, trimming the roots around, keeping the roots small, and continually, as soon as these leaves get to their big size and you've got the new growth coming through, cut off the big ones. That's all I do to make my sycamore look like this. Eventually this will be a great tree. So I really do encourage you, get out there, find your sycamores, find your big leaf hazels and have a go at it yourself. And if you get some good results, please send some pictures through to me at expressionsbonsai@gmail.com and we can spread the love for Mame big leaf varieties. Should we have a look at that little apple now? Now, we go half a size smaller and we've got this micro apple growing, and again this originated from a pip of an apple eaten by the monks way up in the monastery in Troublesome, and I was lucky enough to get a few of them, and you know that. But this has been deliberately kept in this little small ceramic, and you know, that's the size of my hand. In fact, it's no more bigger than the size of a sycamore leaf. So what have I been waiting for this? So I've been slowly developing something that's got a little bit of tapered movement. Brilliant. But what I've been waiting for is what I've got here. For the first time, I've got a bud here that's definitely going to come through to fruition. We've got nice leaves on it, and one even lower down. So looking at that, I can potentially go there, here, and then possibly this. But what I don't need anymore is probably this part here. So I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove two of the bigger leaves. We've got some interest. We've got some red spot on there, rust of some sort. Need to give this a spray because there's definitely some bug activity there. But look at that. That's, in fact, that is the size of my thumb. So that's my Tom Thumb apple. In fact, let's get rid of that leaf as well. And that one, which is the most infected. And I think this is probably going to be, even if I'm honest, I don't think I'm going to need that. So I may keep that, but I think truthfully the tree's going to be up here. I've also got a little bud there coming out. And I think this is why I love playing around with little Mame. Don't do loads of them, but the ones I have got have really done some incredible things. But we do need to get rid of that rusty sort of stuff. So hello to Zita's apple tree. This one, she started as a pip, goodness, 8 years ago, and God rest her soul, she was determined that I was never going to be allowed to bonsai it. And if you have a look in my flowering bonsai playlist, there's 3 or 4 videos that take you through the progression of this from a plant or a tree in a pot to a bonsai in development in memory of my wife. So what do we need to do? Well, the first thing you know that I hate about this particular apple is the woolly aphids. Absolutely terrorize this tree, and I'll show you exactly what they're like. All over the tree you're going to see this white, powdery, sticky substance. It'll be all under the undersides, and that is the coating or covering for a little horrible bug inside. You need to go around sitting on all your fruiting, all your apple. Look at that, this horrible furry thing. And what happens is that they develop in there and they suck the life out of your fruit trees. And I must be honest, I've struggled to really control this as any sort of thing. So every couple of weeks I will go around and just inspect the undersides and just try and knock them off before they can establish. Absolute nightmare, these things.
That's gross.
But before I waste too much energy taking it off from the branches further out, we're getting loads and loads of growth here. Really happy with that. Part of me is quite happy to let these branches continue to grow out. But what I will do is reduce the ones at the top. You know, for those who followed this is a brilliant year. We're getting loads of growth on it. And In fact, I'm quite inclined to clip it right back actually. The key thing is we need to get this tree stronger and stronger. One of the reasons I think for the woolly aphid infestation, and it's quite heavy in the roots as well, is that the roots are underdeveloped. They do need a lot in there, and the way they're going to get that is loads of solar panels. There's been some big chops that have been done, and as I say, I really do suggest that you go and have a look. There's one of the videos just up there. There's at least 2 or 3 on this tree. I'm happy. I want to keep this branch growing out and thickening here. I don't need this branch here to be much thicker, so all I'm going to do is bring that right back, probably to there. A few yucky leaves we're going to get rid of. So we've got this here, then we look at this one here. This is grown off miles, we don't need all that growth, so we'll cut that there. Moving up, we've got this here. Going up, we've got a nice shoot there, so probably let's cut that there. Which means we've got this big one here. Not a lot of healthy growth here, we've got a lot more aphids there. I'm inclined to actually take it all the way back. There's this lovely shoot here. And you'll find, I think this is one thing I say you'll find with apple fruiting, they're never going to be pretty attractive like Japanese maple or anything like that. In fact, I'll show you why. I mean, these are always what I call a coarse growing species. They form these great big lumpy bits, and in these particular ones it's called an apple gall. And again, that's I think the result of that woolly aphid, or that they actually burrow in there or they infect it and it swells. It's not bad to the tree, it just looks unsightly. And wherever you cut, you get swellings in odd places. And again, if you've got crabapple, you've seen the same thing. What I'm going to do here is I've got this nice growth here. So I'm going to tell the tree, put your energy there. And then looking up here, another woolly aphid under there. Really, I don't need all that height. Under here, I've got an interesting growth down here, which I quite like the look of. So I'd rather see if we can get stuff coming down there. Part here, we've got this big growth here. And remember when I cut this original stump off, it's amazing the growth I've got. That was just a bare stump there. In fact, here's an example of the actual apple gall I'm talking about. This great big lump here. And as I say, it is formed as a result of insect activity. I can actually remove it, and just to give you an idea of the cross section of it, that's the lump that I just cut off, and it's quite white and fleshy in there, and removal of that doesn't cause any harm or damage to the tree, but it does result in more blobs and goodness knows what. Don't know if you can see in there, but this is where you've got to watch it, right in those crevices there. You get loads of those woolly aphids also in there, so you've always got to go around. So I'm going to go around, continue to take the aphids off, and also where I get those obvious gall, remove them too. But you know, it's getting used to the fact it's an apple, and that's the way they look. They are very, very coarse. You know, I'm trying to heal that wound. It's taking a long time, to be fair, and I may, well, the only way I'm going to heal that properly is just continue to let this stuff grow out and continue to feed that through. This one here as well, coming off there, I'm looking for places where I'm going to get, there's a branch there and a branch there. That's absolutely ideal for me. So there it is, long way to go, and to be fair, for me, apple and this sort of fruiting variety, I'm still getting the hang of how to get the best from them. So it's an adventure and learning point for me as well. Spray it again. Also in all those areas in there where I know the little horrible monsters are. Got bug spray all over my glasses now. That's not very good. So what are we going to look? Oh, the Buddleia. You know I'm leaving the best for last, which is the Ginkgo. If you're here for the Ginkgo, trust me, it's coming along relatively soon. But let's go revisit the Buddleia, shall we? Here it is, and I'm not expecting you to go, wow, Zav, you've saved it.
He's saving it for you.
No, all I did is took some advice of a couple of people who said, put it in the sunshine and see what happens. yeah, we've still got this discoloration and problem with the leaves, and I think I might have a go with that that iron extract that I use for the yellowing on the azalea, and will do so on the ginkgo as well, as also as a result of some advice. But look, there is some shoots growing here. I've got little shoots wanting to come out from bare wood very low down here and here, under here, here, here. So that's really encouraging that I'm going to get stuff quite low down, because the best bit is this bit here. I love this. So if I can save it from there, and you know, we've got growth coming. It's just this deficiency that's causing the leaf problem. I'm a lot happier. It doesn't mean it's out of the woods by a long way. I need to find out what the problem is with those leaves and see if I can rectify that problem. But leading on from this one, which is going to go back into a sunny spot, let's go to that smaller one which you saw me play around with a lot earlier in the spring. So here it is, and I kept on with this one because I love that root structure, and again some lovely movement which you can see there. It's producing lots and lots of growth from all in there, which is what you expect these to do. Buddleia are very, very profuse at buddling. Is that why they're called buddling? Because they bud a lot. But no, I love the movement and I love the roots. And if you want to see the video where I pulled that out, then have a look there. Really, really interesting. I played around with a load of different stuff. I think it was the holly as well. But what do I do here? Well, again, I'm just clearing off dead stuff. I may well remove bigger leaves, so that tells the tree or the shrub that I want these small ones to extend. So I'll go around and do that. And once I've removed all the leaves that I don't want on there, it looks really lovely. I love all that. I've got the option of cutting back so that we get these two shoots coming up. Here, I've got smaller ones there. I want those ones more. Not sure I want that. These are not ideally set for wiring, so you know that's going to go in the wrong direction in the end. So what I am going to do is just take the growing tip out. Same with that, take the growing tip out of there. Oh, and again with these, I'm still playing and learning, so loads and loads of fun. But that's my Buddleia, and I think that's why I still try and get them to work. There are some interesting shapes you can get. So I suppose you want to see the ginkgo and see what I'm going to do. Okay, so here it is. I'm sure you all remember it well enough. It was only a few weeks ago that I did my ginkgo episode, and the first thing I'm going to say is thank you very much for the advice that was given to add that. I keep calling it desiccated iron or whatever, or confiscated iron. You know what I mean. I'm going to be adding the iron to this to see if we can deal with the yellowing issue, which as I understand is a lack of iron. Is it chlorated or collared? Crushed iron. It would be easy for me just to go inside and have a look at the label on the jar, but anyway.
He is an idiot.
So I also got loads and loads of different advice about what I could potentially try with this, and I'm going to work my way through them. So the first bit of advice I got, I think, was let it grow. Put it in a pond basket or something like that and just let it continue to grow as it is and just see what comes of it. And that's really what I've been doing, and it has actually gone a long way from when I originally had it. A couple of people also talked about doing fusions, and I think in essence we were looking at finding places in this higher up where we could fuse, I don't know, fuse them together, something like that. And I had a little play around. It's not as flexible as you might think, to be fair, but I'm also very aware that the ginkgo, as I call it, the prehistoric species, if you mark them, they take forever to heal, if at all, as you can see here. They're very, very slow in terms of the movement of water and juices through the system. So I always have this feeling that to try and get a successful fusion is going to be difficult at the best of times. And then I looked at it and thought, is that actually going to give me anything that looks any more pleasing to the eye than what we currently have here? And I actually looked at it and thought, no, probably not. So in the big thing, is it worth spinning the dice for that? No. Now, one of the other really good suggestions that came through was to individually wire these so they almost match the shape of the wiring there. And that's not a bad idea, except for one thing that I've discovered with these, and I answered in my comments about it, is that these were both wired for several years into interesting shapes, and they just don't hold their shape. To get these things to hold, you need to get them a lot younger, which is how I've had some success, or you've got to leave the wire on so long that you get the nastiest wire scars. So I'm going away from that, and what I have decided to do, and are you ready for this? We could even have a drum roll just to really build the excitement. In fact, stop. Make sure your coffee's charged or your tea's charged, or if you're watching this in the evening, perhaps you've got your favourite tipple.
Ice cold milk.
Because this is what I'm going to do. I have no idea, I've never experienced. If I do this, how is it going to respond? There are lots of nodules low down. Am I actually going to get some backbudding because I've forced this on the tree? Because the one thing I have realised is if I don't, I'm going to remove those entirely, and I am going to try and build some sort of literati style with this. So what I do need to make sure I do though, cut paste the top, because as I say, very, very bad at healing, so we've got to take every extra measure we can to ensure this thing doesn't dry out or get infections. Hey, should we find out, well I'll find out whether or not that promotes any backbudding or any of these swellings to develop as buds. But really what I am hoping is that somewhere along here we're going to get a bud pop, probably next year. So that's the solution, the answer I've taken. I know a number of you suggested that, thank you very much, and we'll be following this with a lot of interest, I think. Can you believe that? I was going to finish it without talking about my Japanese white pine. The other one is looking in a fairly healthy form, and someone asked me how are they, and probably wanted an update, because right now all those I talked about the sort of waiting for the rice paper husks to drop. Well, they're all in there and they've all recently dropped, so now would be the time when I could go in there with my scissors and cut some of these extended candles back to maybe 5-6 needle pairs, and I was going to, but something has stopped me, apart from the fact that, you know, it's still sort of recovering. I mean, look at it, I think it looks brilliant, and definitely I've got some advice to take on the top, and I'll show you why that's going to work out. But the one thing that held my hand on pruning back, this candle growth, it's not massive, and it's certainly not, detrimental overall to the tree, but there's something on the needles that hey, maybe you might be able to help me with. What I discovered as they opened up, right on the tips, on all of them, is just a little yellow at the tip, a little black bit at the top. Generally they've still got a greeny sort of nice look about them, but all of them have that tip there, and I don't know whether there's some sort of needle cast or needle infection. It's on all of them, so I don't really want to cut anything off, because what I don't want to do is cut away needles or cut away candles and basically deadhead the tree for next year. I mean, what I could do, if I was going to, we've got here, like here, we've got needle pairs in here. I could cut the top 2 or 3 off, but it's only, let's be honest, it's only half an inch. There's really not a lot in there to be worried about, so I'm going to leave those. Now, one of the things that was definitely suggested by a number of people was that the top it's too tall. I need to actually reduce the height and bring back some of this growth by removing some branches at different places, and definitely I can do that. And what's made it even better is that I've got some absolutely brilliant backbuds that have come up just there, allowing me potentially to remove this, but not quite yet. I'll show you what I mean. So right in there I've got some lovely new backbuds that have grown, and that is going to be where my new apex is going to be. So yeah, that's going to allow me to remove this top half here, but I'm not going to do that now. This tree has been with me since the beginning. I don't want to do anything that's going to put it even further back until I know what's going on with the needles. So that's it really for Bonsai for Breakfast. If you've enjoyed all that varied stuff you've seen, then obviously massive big thumbs up. And I'm sure there must be someone who you could share this with on some social media sites who may well enjoy it. Otherwise, I ask you humbly to subscribe if you want, and please hit the bell notifications and select all so you can see when I've got new content coming. And apart from that, enjoy your working day. I'm going to get my raincoat on and bring the wash in, and wish you all the best. Happy bonsaiing, God bless. Cheers.
That was a good breakfast. I'm